Attention business owners. Can you make heads or tails of workers' compensation? Very few people can. Listen to the pros that are making businesses smarter every Wednesday. The Evan and Dave's PEOs and More Show lesson begins now on 1250 Wins WHNZ.
You've got Evan and Dave's PEOs and More Show. How is everybody doing out there today? I hope everyone is having a good day, and I know we got people listening all over the state and the country, but boy, I hope you're in the Tampa Clearwater area because it is beautiful out there today. You got David Siracusa and
I'm Evan Kohler
on the air with you today. And ladies and gentlemen, we want to hear from you guys. As always, please give us a ring, 877-897-8255. Call in and talk to us. We got a great guest in the studio today. We got Paul McBroom from Transamerica in the studio with us. How you doing today, Paul?
I'm doing super. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. Well, we are happy to have you in the studio with us. And Paul talked to us the last time about some great information about retirement plans, 401ks for the business, and he said he's got a lot more stuff for us this week, some new and different things to chat with us about, and we look forward to talking to him in the next segment about that. Please check us out, www.thepeo.show. We got everything on there to keep you in tune with what's going on in the show. We're talking about experience modifiers today, Evan, and wow, is that important to a company?
It sure is. Business owners out there, anytime they hear this word experience modifier, they either cringe or they love it. And it seems like the pendulum swings very heavily one way or another. And to put it on the simplest terms, Dave, your experience modifier, for lack of a better word, that's your credit score for insurance. Brand new business in the state of Florida, Joe the plumber, he goes out, he incorporates, the state issues him a experience modifier of 1.0. Now what that means for you as a business owner, that means you're not getting any discounts to your workers' comp rates, nor any surcharges to your workers' comp rates. Over time, Joe the plumber, he's got a favorable history, meaning he's not having any workers' comp claims over the first 10, 11 quarters. His modifier would drop, maybe a 0.9 or a 0.8. A 0.8 would mean he's getting a 20% discount to those workers' comp rates. Or if Joe the plumber has a rough start, meaning he's having some bumps in the road, having some workers' comp claims along the way, his modifier could raise 1.1 or a 1.2. Staying in that example, a 1.2 would be a 20% surcharge to his workers' comp rates.
That's not so good.
That's why I say they're either cringing or they're smiling when they hear that word.
That's right. Now, the important thing is, because obviously knowing about what the experience modifier is, that is very important. But, okay, so you know what your experience modifier is. What are you going to do about it? Are there ways to improve your experience modifier?
There are. First of all, you got to have a good claim history. No matter how much safety implementation you exercise, no matter how well you train your guys, if you have claims, there's not much you can do about it, except maybe join a PEO. That's one of the huge buffers a PEO, a employee leasing company, has for a business owner out there, is we don't go off of that modifier. We go off of how much payroll you have and what your recent claim history is, but that's not to say if you've got a 1.2 that you're automatically facing a 20% surcharge. Huge buffer with the PEO.
Right, and one of the things that you were saying is that no matter how careful you are, you can still experience claims. And that's true in every walk of life. I mean, no matter how good a driver you are, you can still get sideswiped by someone. But certainly, as anyone, parent of a teenager knows, there are still many ways to improve the chances that you are not going to get into an accident. And PEOs even help out in that area as well, correct?
They sure do. A PEO, you can use them as much as you want. meaning, they're willing to come out, do a site evaluation for your business, determine what you're doing well, determine what you're not doing so well, how to implement procedures to prevent claims in the future. They're willing to come out monthly, quarterly. I mean, again, the services are there, they're available, and it always irks me when I don't see a business taking full advantage of it, because that's what they're born to do, is not only reduce your costs, streamline your costs, but help keep your costs down.
That's right. And it's not only that the services are there for you, they're mandatory. Recently we signed up a client, and we do our best. Obviously, when we go out, we work with our client, and we try and sign up the best possible clients that are going to improve the strength and the stability of the PEO that we're working with. But even so, every now and then you get a client that is not doing that. And we had a case recently where our PEO went out and looked at the client and said, hey, you are missing this, and this. You either get it done or you are not with us any longer. And that is tough love right there. Hey, teenager, you're my son, you're my daughter, I love you. But either you wear your seatbelt, you drive carefully, you don't do 30 miles over the speed limit, or you don't drive. That's what the PEO does for your own protection.
That's right. Let's give you an example. Dave and I had a case, a company up in St. Louis, and they were a Medicaid transport company. They would help take patients to and from their doctor's appointments. And along the way comes car accidents when you're on, basically you got a 30 truck fleet driving all day, every day. Things happen. This gentleman's modifier over a period of a 2 or 3 year history climbed to 2.07. That means he was getting a 107% surcharge to his rates. Ouch! Ouch. With those premiums doubling, he was facing one of 3 things. Go out of business, take that surcharge, or join a PEO. So Dave and I were able to get him on with the PEO. We did not take that 107% modifier into effect. And I believe his policy with the state fund was going to be somewhere around $250,000. Dave and I placed him with the PEO, with the admin fees of the service included, somewhere around $150,000. So we were able to save this business over $100,000 by outsourcing his payroll, taking advantages of all the PEO services, and keeping his costs in line.
It's amazing. So the best thing is that because of the bad situation that he was in, not only did we save him so much money, but it forced him to get all these extra benefits that he was not getting previously. So if you can ever find a silver lining in a cloud, there you go. Hopefully nobody's in that position where the mod goes up that way, their experience modifier goes up that way, and you're forced into that situation. But if it does, do not worry. Give us a call, Evan and I, 727-421-8250. I promise we'll help out. The savings might not be that big if your company is not that large, but I guarantee you we will get you some savings one way or another. Paul, let's get right to it, man. Tell us a little bit about, you talked about last time the multiple employer plans. Talk to us again for those who missed the show last time or just want a refresher on it. Tell us what it is and what do you have for us today?
Well, Dave, the multiple employer plan is a 401k plan that's sponsored by one of the leasing companies that you guys work with. And the benefit of doing that is we bring all these employers together. We call them adopting employers under one umbrella, and they get to share the benefits of combining all these into one large pool of assets and get much better pricing. Probably the same concept you use in the rest of the benefits for the PEO.
Yep, same concept we use every morning when I get up and send the kids off to school too. It's always easier to carpool, right? You're trying to pool resources, bring things together, and it's a huge benefit in this case because you're doing the same thing. You're reducing expenses, correct?
That is correct. And the reduction of expenses is not the best part of it, because for most plan sponsors, it's not really that expensive to run a 401k plan. The biggest part is the administrative duties that they have to get involved with. And that's where the multiple employer plan takes over those duties, such as approving loans, monitoring eligibility, taking care of all the required notices that go out, having investment policy statements, choosing investments, just making sure the plan design is current. So the multiple employer plan does all that, and the adopting employer then can select how they want to do their plan as far as matching or profit sharing or no matching, eligibility, and those things. But the major part of it is taken care of at the multiple employer level.
That really shocks me, because I thought most business owners and HR professionals really wanted to sit around and just deal with all that minutia. Is that not the case? They don't want to deal with all that little stuff?
Well, the part of the problem is most of them really don't know what they need to be doing.
Well, that's true. That and they usually don't have time. They have a couple other things going on, trying to make money for the company, doing things like that.
Trying to run the business gets in the way of running a 401k plan.
Sure.
So that's the reason you need to outsource as much as you can. And, we have the ability to do that both in the multiple employer plan. Transamerica also does it for single employers, where we can monitor eligibility, where we can approve the loans, the hardships. We can take over all those services in the back room. So people need that, because they don't sit around and read the latest IRS regulations that come out, and don't look at the DOL things that come down the street and say, well, we need to be complying with this. You need somebody that's going to do that for you. So either in a multiple employer or a single employer, Transamerica can help.
Yeah, most of the people are out there saying, DOL, what in the world are you talking about? So, I mean, they don't even understand it, let alone want to read any of that stuff.
That's right, the Department of Labor. So.
And when you were talking about it being for individual as well as multiple or larger employers, it's got to be magnified that much more for an individual employer who's really, is just himself, or maybe himself and one or two employees. They really have no time. They are doing literally everything to make the company go.
It's very hard to do everything and know the regulations for the workers' comp, for the 401k, the health insurance. Most people are just trying to stay in business these days, so they need to outsource as much as they can. I think that's the important piece.
It's amazing when we have Paul in here, we see the parallels of what Transamerica does as opposed to what a PEO does. It's our responsibility to make sure it's done correctly, as it is yours. Well, that's Evan and Dave's PEOs and More show. Check it out on a 167-hour break.
You've been listening to Evan and Dave's PEOs and More show, where as another lesson comes to a close, another business gets smarter. Tune in next Wednesday at 1 p.m. so they can add your company to their satisfied group of savvy business graduates.